Hello everyone and welcome to this Schlieffen review / commentary, whatever. First thing first, I have to tell you that those cuts, those videos that you are gonna be watching are pre-nerf, in the sense that Schlieffen has gone through a couple of nerfs, mainly the hydro range that was reduced from 6 km to 5.5 for ships, and the secondaries reload time has been slightly nerfed. So this is pre-nerfed Schlieffen footage, so keep that in mind when you consider the ship. Also, the build that you are currently seeing and that you will be watching in this commentary is significantly different from what I'm currently using on my Schlieffen, because in this video, you see me not running Concealment Expert because I was trying something different, and the main difference is that I'm not running IFHE. So this thing is a secondary monster, the Schlieffen. So this is one of the main selling points of this entire line, and of course the tier 10 is the pinnacle of this entire line. Without IFHE, your small secondaries, you have a pack of 105 and 150 millimeter secondaries. The small ones pen only 26 millimeters, okay, while the big ones pen 38. So this means that the fast reloading secondaries do not pen heavy cruiser armor, and of course they do not pen battleship armor besides the superstructures. So yes, you gain some. By the way, you just saw 4 overpens, 14k damage. Interesting rendering of shell hits, by the way, by Wargaming. Anyway, let's keep talking. As I said, without IFHE, you do not pen battleship armor besides the superstructures. So this is the main reason why I'm actually using IFHE, in order to be much more effective against cruisers in general, and of course we deal much more damage on battleships. In this current match, as you saw, I actually waited a little bit because my lack of concealment means that it is not that easy with this build to actually brawl, because you want to brawl in this thing. This thing is made to brawl. It has some weaknesses, absolutely. Schlieffen has some weaknesses, namely the low HP pool. As you can see, 76.1k HP is not that much for a tier 10 battleship. Also, the torpedo protection is only 23%, which is also not great. But you should make up for that by having your hydro. So your hydro should keep you, safe from torpedoes, most of them at least. But you cannot dodge all torpedoes, but the most part of it. Also, you have a vulnerable 27mm upper nose that I'm gonna show you the armor scheme in a bit of this ship. So you can see that the upper part of your nose is not that well armored. So if a battleship aims properly, she can overmatch your nose and deal a massive damage to you. So keep that in mind while you are brawling. Also, the handling is, I would not say terrible, but it is not great either. So in terms of turn cycle radius and rudder shift time, this ship is not extra good. The speed is nice. Speed is one of the best things of this ship, because it is 34.1 knots without the flag. So with the flag, it's even better. As you can see, we do not pen the Salem armor. This is the main reason why you should run IFHE. As you can see, our small secondaries are not penning the Salem armor. If I had IFHE in this situation, I would have, probably killed the Salem without wasting this salvo on him. But yeah, as I said, that was the build that I was running. Also, Schlieffen, as you see, comes with kind of Russian damage con, in the sense that you have a limited amount of charges of your consumable, but it is fast reloading consumable. So Same deal with Russian battleships actually. Another weakness of the ship is of course the Sigma and the dispersion. I mean, this ship is not super bad like Kerfoot, for example. I mean, at least in my book, because it is not super trash, but yeah, it is not very accurate at all. So here there is another random game, always with the Schlieffen and with the very same build. We talked about the weaknesses of this ship. Let's talk about the strengths. Of course, as I said, the secondaries are one of the main selling points of the ship, because you can reach 12.5 km of range with very good reload on them, 3.2 seconds and 7.1 seconds respectively for the small ones and the big ones, without adrenaline rush, without anything, any kind of buff, let's say. Also, you come with a really useful pack of torpedoes. You have 4 launchers of 4 torpedoes each. They have 13.5 km of range. They deal a decent amount of damage, about 16.5k damage, but the balancing factor, let's say, is that the speed of these torps is very limited. But in brawler situations, they are exceptionally useful. Okay, you have plenty of these things, and they do grab a punch. Also, as we mentioned before, the speed is very good on the ship, and the best thing about the ship is the fun factor. This ship is, in my book at least, fun to play. This is a ship in which you cannot stay back and snipe. It is a ship that you have to use in an aggressive way. This doesn't mean, of course, that you have to, brawl in and die and suicide like a random potato, but it is a ship that allows you to kind of have some aggressive playstyle that some other ships are not gonna be, that are not able to pull off. So in this current situation, you see me, I mean, I'm actually playing hyper aggressive. This is a very old footage, as you can see from, as you can tell by that submarine roaming around here. So I will play extra aggressive. I was literally testing out. I was, trying to push this ship to its limits, and this ship actually doesn't disappoint you most of the times, at least. Of course, if you like this aggressive playstyle, this ship is absolutely recommended, but you still have to, as we said, keep an eye on what's happening around you, because this ship has a limited amount of HP. The armor scheme is good to brawl, but it is not, it is not impossible to citadel or to punish. Absolutely. Schlieffen does get citadel, because the citadel is, not that well protected. So absolutely, you do not have to overextend. In this scenario, there is the perfect situation with 2 battleships with no torpedoes at very close range. As you can see, Kerfoot is dealing massive damage to us, even if we were kinda angled. So this thing eats damage. Okay, it is not a unkillable dreadnought, whatever. So keep that in mind. Here we kill the Thunder with torpedoes. We are also working on that Kerfoot, and in this specific situation, we will be very lucky that this guy decides that we were kind of dead here, because we are left with like 3k HP, and he stops actually focusing us for some reasons. But this is gonna heavily backfire on this guy. As you can see, we actually have our heal available. We keep staying alive, and in the very end we will prevail on that Kerfoot somehow. As you can see, this thing pumps out damage in a very fast way, in the sense that it doesn't take you too much time to get a lot of damage on the board. Yes, most of the times you are gonna lose your ship, so be prepared to actually be killed in this thing, because this thing does get sunk most of the times. But the trade that you want to get is that while the enemy team is focused on killing you, you're dealing massive damage to them, and hopefully your allies should also be dealing a lot of damage to them as well. So this is also, this is of course imagining that random players would recognize some sort of situations, whatever. But you know, there is a chance that while you are causing havoc on the enemy team, your teammates will do something. Who knows? One can hope at least. We didn't talk about the AA. The AA has okay-ish values, so the continuous damage is not terrible. I mean, it is not gonna, you know, shred tier 10 planes, that's for sure. But of course, the main weakness of the AA is the classic German weakness. The fact that you have only 5.2 km of range is fairly limiting. So yeah, not great in this sense, but not extra bad either. Here we see me actually roaming around chasing down submarine. We are not going to talk about how fun and how, you know, healthy for the game, balance the game mechanics and, you know, the general flow of the game the submarines are, because, you know, hopefully they are not going to be implemented soon. They are currently in the public test server, but not on the main server at the moment at least. So we are going to take that. So what can I say? As I said, Schlieffen is fun. Schlieffen is fun, and to a certain extent it is versatile, because you have hydro to actually defend yourself from torpedoes. If you catch a potato destroyer in your that is hiding, for example, in his smoke, you hydro him and you shred him with secondaries. You don't even have to, you know, use your main guns if you don't want to. And what can I say? This ship is absolutely one of the best additions in the game, in my opinion, at tier 10, done by Wargaming in, you know, the recent patches. This whole branch of German battlecruisers is very, very, you know, it kind of has a similar playstyle to the previous German BB line, but in many things it is also very, very unique. So, and now we are going to end this Shikishima and we are going to go to a ranked game after that. So here we are in a ranked game. As most of the German ships in the game, Schlieffen shines the less ships are on the field, the better Schlieffen gets, because you have, you know, you take less damage from, you know, from the enemies. You can focus fire the enemies better, you can shred people with your secondaries without having too much crossfire going on. So the less ships there are in the game, the better Schlieffen gets. So for example, for brawls in, I don't know, 3v3 scenario, 5v5, whatever, Schlieffen is basically god tier ship, because it is exceptionally good at dealing in 1v1 situation. So this is the whole idea of the ship, trying to get 1v1 situations against basically any target that you can spot, so you can actually farm those targets with your secondaries, torpedoes, and your main guns, because your main guns are not bad, you know. You don't have the best Sigma on the board, absolutely, but they are still 420mm guns, so the same as Kurfürst. So the penetration is not that great, absolutely not. But, you know, if something gives you broadside and the RNG is slightly on your side, you're still gonna hurt the enemy team. So, absolutely. In this case, you see, in this case, you see how, let's say, ineffective our secondaries will be without IFHE on that Montana. Because, yes, we are gonna be starting some fires, that's for sure. But the actual damage that we are gonna be getting from our secondaries on the Montana is gonna be very, very limited, because only the 38mm, the 150mm secondaries, which have 38mm of pen without IFHE, are gonna be dealing some decent damage. As you can see, Sigma is bad, but sometimes on, you know, broadsiding targets like this poor Stalingrad, you can have some kind of devastating salvos like this. That was 60k salvos for citadels on, you know, it was kind of a stationary target, but considering that that was, you know, a German BB battlecruiser salvo, that was quite extraordinary dispersion, I would say. So this is not something that happens very often, of course, but it can happen once in a while. So what can I say? Schlieffen absolutely recommended. Absolutely recommended. We are gonna take a look at my current captain build. As I said, this is a slightly different build, which actually works. I mean, it's not like with this configuration Schlieffen is trash, okay? It is only a little bit less versatile in the sense that the fact that you have 14 km concealment instead of 12.6 limits you a little bit in the early stages of the match, because you have to, you know, you saw myself as well playing very cautiously previously, because you want to find the openings to brawl, and if you don't have the best concealment, you're gonna be spotted, you're gonna be shot at first, so it is gonna be more difficult for you to find those brawly situations, those openings in which you can shine. So the concealment is, you know, very useful for a number of reasons. As we said, if you get 12.6 concealment, you basically have the same concealment as your secondary range, which is of course very nice, and the better concealment allows you to get faster, and, you know, in those positions where you can use effectively your brawly potential, which is torpedoes, secondaries, and your main guns on top of that. Here I'm choosing to ignore this Bourgogne on my left flank. This is a gamble that I'm doing. If that guy recognizes what I'm doing, he would smack me, but that was ranked, so not the best you know, field of players, I would say. So here I was still untouched. I dealt 108k damage, and I don't have a single scratch on my ship. This Montana is not aware that we are here. The Bourgogne actually sees these openings, and as you can see, this ship deals damage. Okay, whenever you have something giving you broadside, and you know, and this version doesn't fail you, absolutely go for it. Take a shot, and, you know, you might get rewarded. But as you can see, those two Montanas are dealing massive damage to us. Just a couple of, you know, 10-20 seconds ago we were full HP. We are down 30k HP already, and we are still eating damage. This is because of the 27mm nose. If a battleship knows where to aim, you're gonna be eating a lot of damage, because literally every battleship at tier 10 currently in the game overmatches that nose, and, you know, overmatch is not a ton of fun. So as you can see here, we are brawling two Montanas at the very same time. I think that Montana actually Potatoes. Yeah, he shoots our belt, so he deals some damage, but not. We are still alive somehow, and we can use our torpedoes to finish him off, and then we are gonna be dealing with the other Montana actually. So as you can see, the amount of damage that you can pump out in a short amount of time is remarkable in the ship, but you also eat a lot of damage in return. So you have to manage your HP properly and recognize when to disengage if you have the opportunity to disengage. So I would recommend you to, you know, keep a plan B if possible, because you are gonna be, you know, in the need of disengaging here and there in the ship. And yeah, this rank game was a pretty successful one. We are already at more than 230k damage. We are still, you know, looking to close in on this Montana, and after this game ends, we will be taking a look at the Schlieffen configuration in port. I don't remember if I finish him off with torpedoes or guns here. We'll see. I think guns. Yeah, it is gonna be guns. Boom. So here we are again. This is my currently Schlieffen build. We're gonna start with the upgrades. As I said, nothing changed here. So secondary turrets and AA survival, more tankiness, more secondary range. Here I choose to go for the tankiness upgrade, but you can choose either the steering gears or the propulsion if you so choose. Here of course concealment, and here of course the better reload on the main battery guns. You might fancy about going for this, but this is a little bit too much, so you still want to take the reload on your main guns. But the captain has slightly changed. As I said in the videos that you actually saw, I used to run a different build without IFHE and without concealment, but I was running fire prevention instead, and honestly I can't really remember what I was running. Probably I was running adrenaline rush, instead of IFHE and Demolition Expert. But I currently think that this is I think one of the most solid builds. As I said, with IFHE, you can ban 32mm and 47mm with the two sets of secondaries that you actually have, which is nice. So at the moment, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I find this build to be slightly more effective, especially for the fact that the concealment skill allows you to have basically the same concealment as your secondary range, which is very useful, because you just pop up in front of a ship and your secondary instantly start shelling that target. But I mean, surely there are gonna be some variations, some different builds. Absolutely, this is the current one that I'm using, but you are absolutely free to, you know, experiment and let me know in the comments what you think about it. So that was my Schlieffen review, commentary, whatever, however you wanna call it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment below. Consider subscribing to the channel. It would greatly help me, and it is completely for free. And what can I say? Check out the Twitch link down below. I might be streaming when you are actually watching this video, who knows. And once again, enjoy the game. This ship is very fun to play, so absolutely recommended. So grind this line, it is very fun, and especially the tier 7 and the tier 9 as well are very powerful for their own tier. The tier 8, the Z10, is kind of garbage in my book, but you know, the tier 10 Schlieffen is absolutely worth the grind in my opinion. So Schlieffen, 100% recommended, very fun to play, very powerful in some situations, and you know, we need close range battleships, close range ships in this sniping meta that is actually developing in World Warships. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you the next time. Goodbye.